So I have some dough here that I am making for sourdough bread. And I thought that I would come on and show you some tips on how to make cooking sourdough bread a little bit less messy and easier on you. All right, so if you notice, my hands are not sticky and I'm using a tool. This tool, I would suggest, do not get a wooden one. A wooden one can break, or the thing on the end can come off easily. So this is a mixture that I just put together with about 100, how many grams of starter was it? I don't know, it was like 100 and something. 165 grams, I believe. 118, that's what it was. 118 grams of starter. And I just want to tell you, you know, when you start baking sourdough, you're probably going to be like, okay, well, I don't know how to do this. I have this much starter, and I don't know what that's going to do. Well, check this out. So, what you're going to do is, when you see your starter has doubled, pour out half your starter into a bowl. But before you do that, you're going to measure your bowl. You're going to get a scale and you're going to weigh your bowl. My bowl was 130 grams. So you write down on a piece of paper and tack it to your fridge, 130 grams for this bowl. Okay? And measure your bowl. See how much it weighs. That way, when you add, you already know that the bowl is 130 grams or whatever, okay? Now, use a spatula to do your work. You're going to get in there with your hands, but it's going to be in just a minute. You're going to take, after you mix all this up, you're going to scooch all your dough down to one side of the bowl, okay? Now, you're going to spray or gently line your bowl with olive oil or whatever oil you choose, okay? Now, there we go. Now, there we go. There we go. Now, you're probably wondering, what's that going to do? It's going to keep your dough from sticking to the sides. It's still going to stick, but nowhere near as bad. Next, you're going to wet your hands. This is the fun part. You're going to wet your hands, and you're going to grab, and you're going to stretch, and you're going to fold. You see how I'm doing that? It's sticking to my hands. But notice how my dough is very easily stretching and folding. Just very gently grab it and stretch and fold. Okay? And there you go. You keep stretching and folding. Okay? Now, after you've done stretch and folds all around the bowl, you are going to cover the bowl. You are going to cover the bowl with a lid. Some people say, put a hot towel and this and that and the third. We don't do that no more. Put the lid on it. You see? You're going to put your lid on it, and you are going to trap that internal temperature. You want to keep it at least 70 degrees. At least 70 degrees, guys. No hotter than 75. You see that? We're going to scooch her over here and let her sit there for 30 minutes. And then we're going to come back and do stretch and folds. So I'll be right back. All right, so now we're ready for our next set of stretch and folds. I'm wetting my hand. Warm water, not hot, just warm. Stretch and fold. Stretch and fold. Now you're going to feel it stick a little bit. It's fine. That just means you need to wet your hand again. Some people even put a bowl of water next to them while they do this, and they just dip their hand in it. So there we go. So now I think we have one more stretch and fold. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, one more stretch and fold. And then we'll be ready to set her aside for a few hours. Alrighty, so here we are. We're gonna do our stretch and folds, and then we're gonna let this sit for the next several hours. Wet your hand, stretch and fold. Wet your hand if you need to in between. And there you go. And anything that sticks to the bowl, just grab it and put it on top. You can grab that later with your scraper. Now I'm going to put the lid on, and we're going to let her proof on the counter. I do not put mine in the refrigerator. I am in a high elevation, so I don't need to put her in the fridge, okay? I think that's only in places where it's like really low elevation and it's really humid. So now we're going to wait, and hopefully in about 5 hours, she'll be doubled in size. All right. Almost done. Just a few more minutes. And here we go, honey. Here we go. This is the finished product. I split that dough into 2. And I basically sprinkled some flour over my counter. I laid out 1 ball of dough at a time after I split it into 2. And I did this 6 hours after my last stretch and folds. So once it started bubbling and it got doubled in size, I said, okay, we're going to bake. And look at them. They look beautiful.